Today we'll talk about an anti-inflammatory diet. The concept of inflammation is a relatively new one, particularly with regards to cardiovascular disease. So just like we have several other risk factors such as obesity, lack of exercise, smoking, increased sugar, increased blood pressure, sleep apnea, etc. Inflammation, or rather chronic inflammation, chronic which means long-term inflammation, is increasingly now being recognized as a additional risk factor, and often it ties in with fatty liver and other kinds of inflammatory conditions which are part of the metabolic syndrome insulin resistance picture. So we can measure this using CRP, for example, as a blood test. Of course, it's not a perfect test. Acute inflammation, so having a cough and cold or having a sore joint or autoimmune conditions such as thyroid may also increase those levels. So it has to be put into perspective with a clinician. In this blog here, and I will put the links for this blog and my YouTube extended videos in the description. I talk about the link between interleukin-6, which is a pro-inflammatory cytokine, and severe COVID. And also, there's a separate blog in which I talk about the JAK-STAT pathway. And of course, there are drugs which we use for severe COVID in ICUs to block these pathways. But the interesting thing is that certain things in the diet and avoiding certain things in the diet can also reduce inflammation. So an anti-inflammatory lifestyle would be maintaining an ideal weight, being active, exercising, sleeping well, treating any underlying sleep apnea, which is the classic picture of an obese person who snores at night. Minimizing pro-inflammatory foods, which are typically long storage items, processed sugars, those containing high fructose corn syrup, trans fats, deep frying foods, and choosing instead whole fiber, whole foods, natural fruits, brown bread over white, brown rice over white, etc. Also maximizing fresh fruits, vegetables, oily fish which contain omega-3, having oils which have more monounsaturated fatty acids such as extra virgin olive, safflower, avocado. And of course, there are also several spices such as curcumin, turmeric, plant flavonoids such as quercetin, which also reduce inflammation. And you will be able to find the full list of those foods and spices which reduce inflammation in this blog.